Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Daily IoT. Struggling a little bit on the texting dryer project, so this will be a short episode. I just want to fill you in on the progress that we've made and what's happening right now. So I got my Adafruit trinkets and I ordered 2 of them. And I have my, I don't know if you can see that, I've got my RF69 modules all soldered up. I've got the little antenna on there, homemade antenna, all going. And then I ran into a couple of problems. First of all, the Trinket. The Trinket is made by Adafruit and is Arduino compatible. It's not an Arduino board, but they have done some things to make it compatible so that you can program it from the Arduino IDE. The problem is the instructions are a little outdated and they're pretty straightforward, but there's a lot of information. There's these avrdude.conf files that are there's different versions all over the place and you gotta find the right version, and I was getting all these weird compiler errors in the IDE about it couldn't read the comp file because the format's changed since the last time that they've updated it and had to do all these updates in the IDE. It was a whole mess, is what I'm trying to get at. And I finally gotten to a point where it says it does not recognize, I'm not getting compiler errors anymore, it's just saying it does not recognize my Trinket. And what's supposed to happen when you plug the Trinket in is this little red LED on here is supposed to pulse. And mine does not. It sort of dimly lights and then it goes off. And there's a one-line obscure thing in the documentation that talks about how the Trinket may not work with USB 3 ports, which is what my Mac laptop has, and I don't have any other computer that I could program these on. Besides, I want to use my normal machine anyway. And so they recommend getting a hub, a USB 2.0 hub plugging into the 3, and then everything is supposed to work. So I'm hoping that's the problem here with the Trinket. I'm hoping to figure that out tonight. I'm gonna go out to the garage, see if I have a hub. I'm not sure if I do, but otherwise I'm gonna have to go pick one up, which is super annoying. It's 2017, these things should work on USB 3, but that's all right. The second problem I had is that my RFM69 modules, I found out, are the high power version. They're the RFM69, what does it say here? HW, and so the H in there stands for high power, and so they can draw, from what I've read, up to an amp or even a little bit more. And so I've got one that I want to hook up to a Raspberry Pi, and I have the other one that I want to hook up to the Trinket. The problem is, and this is something that you will run into and you have to consider when you're doing projects like this, is the Trinket can only source 150 milliamps max from its supply. And so that's not going to be nearly enough to drive the RFM69 directly. So I can't just for prototyping plug this into USB and expect to power it through the 3.3 volt rail that's on this. That's not going to work. I'm going to need a separate supply for that. Same thing on the Raspberry Pi. The 3.3 volt power rails on the Pi can only supply, it depends, I've read a bunch of things depending on how much the board is using and other GPIOs and things like that, but still maybe only like 500-600 milliamps tops. And so I'm not going to have enough power to run that either. I don't need high power modules, I just happen to have high power modules. And so that's unfortunate because now I need extra juice for all of these things. And so I've got like this 3.3 volt regulator on the breadboard with the Pi that I'm going to supply with a 9 volt supply, and then I've got this old, look at the size of this capacitor. I got this old power supply that I made for a project a little while back that spits out, I can do like up to an amp or 800 milliamps of 3.3 volts that I'm going to supplement with the Trinket. And so I got to wire all this stuff up just to get a prototype working. I should be fine once my AC to DC converter arrives, hopefully later this week, fingers crossed. That can supply like 1.3 amps at 3.3 volts. So the node should be just fine to power both the Trinket and the RFM module, no problem. And then for the Pi, I need to just get a non-high powered version because it's not transmitting, it's just receiving, so I don't think I have any need for that to be high power. Although if I do want that hub to communicate back to nodes, okay, so I'm taking it back now. Maybe I do want the high power, and I'm just gonna have to figure that out. It's just power requirements and Trinket problems. I'm dealing with all that. I'm gonna sit down tonight and try and really get this comlink up, this prototype. I don't know if you can see it in here, the node to hub. As soon as I can get that up, man, we're gonna be in business. So that is the latest update. I want to also point out I have started a sort of journal page on my website of this project. And so I'm gonna put the link up right below me here. If you wanna kind of check out, I'm journaling or blogging, however you want to talk about it. I'm putting basically an update every day I work on it to kind of journal the progress of the project, keep track of links and parts I'm using and things I'm learning and things of that nature, so I can look back when I'm done and at all the stuff that I went through, and other people can look through that and maybe find it helpful in their projects. So that is the latest update. Question of the day. I went to an amusement park with my family today. And so, what is your favorite amusement park that you have ever been to? I appreciate everybody watching as usual. Daily IoT, the show where together we're learning how to make the Internet of Things one day at a time.